Hello there, whoever you are, wherever you are, whenever you are. Welcome back to the Pod of Many Things. You may want to cancel your subscription to the new 2021 service already after your week trial. However, we're back. Subscribe to us, like us, follow us on our social media platforms because we are doing big bits in 2021. How are you doing, Leon? How's everything going?
Look, Hannison, alright, I'm not going to tell you I'm doing good because lockdown fucking sucks. Christmas was cancelled, everything's fucking shit, the world's going to shit. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you I'm doing good. I'm going to sit here and tell you that I am coping. That's all I'm going to say. How are you anyway?
Pretty much the same. I started my new job. I'm working out at 120% of my brain power trying to get around everything. But it's difficult at the minute. 2021 started with, like you said, going into a full national lockdown just after Christmas, just before Christmas. Schools closing. America is under siege by its own people. Kanye West and Kim Kardashian are getting divorced. If you care about that, it's all.
I can't explain to you how much I do not care about that.
I know. That's why I concluded it because I thought it would be funny. But yeah, it's a new year and a new start for the Pod of Many Things. Can you believe that? I think it'll be in June, right? We'll have been doing this for a year.
Yeah, something like that.
So to think that we've been doing it for that long, and that we've seen in a new year and managed to survive, it's pretty good. So let's get off the gloom train. We are trying to bring entertainment back to the masses, and D&D or Wizards of the Coast have tried to do the same by releasing or putting out there that they are releasing a book in March. You're much more knowledgeable about this than me, Leon, so if you want to take this away, let's talk about the new book coming from D&D and speculate, do some stuff.
Find the link that you sent me the other day, so I'm going to talk really slowly until I have found it. There it is. So yeah, the other day you sent me a link to penguinrandomhouse.com, and on penguinrandomhouse.com it says D&D March title listed for $50 with a release date of March 16th, which is interesting. So we're obviously going to speculate about what the heck this could be. But just before we do that, typically in years past, the first release of the calendar year is when we get the setting. So that's when we've had Theros, Ravnica, Eberron. That's usually when we get that setting book. Later on in the year, we'll either get 2 or 3, a second or third book. Last year we had quite a few books last year, actually, didn't we? Last year we had Theros, we had the Critical Role book, we had Descent into Avernus. Did we get another one? I feel like there was another one. Yeah, Icewind Dale. No, Descent into Avernus was the year before that, wasn't it?
Descent into Avernus was the year before, because that...
So last year it was just Icewind Dale, Theros, and Explorer's Guide to Woodmount.
Yeah, and Tasha's.
And Tasha's. Oh, wow. Yeah, okay, yeah, that was 4 last year. Excellent. Unless... Wait, did the Critical Role one come out last year? I'm not entirely sure.
Well, the thing is with you say that usually they come out around these times. Yeah. Wizards haven't exactly been the best at the old shipping process, have they, recently? The amount of delays and stuff.
Shipping date, hasn't it? It certainly has in the UK. I think the last 3-4 books have all been delayed for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Anyway, what do we think this new book is going to be? So let's assume it's a setting book. My assumption is that it's going to be another Magic of the Gathering setting that nobody asked for. Now, I do admit that I was super keen for Theros because of the ancient Greek vibes. If we look at it as a whole, I am kind of bored of these Magic the Gathering settings. I want something new, I want something interesting, and I don't really give a shit about Magic the Gathering, to be honest. There's only one setting that I want, Addison, and that's very unlikely to be this book. It's very unlikely that we'll ever see it. But the only setting that I do want is Spelljammer.
Spelljammer would be sick.
Yeah.
I know Ben, our friend from Flickering Torch wants Dark Sun more than anything in the world. There's a couple of like tinfoil hat theories I've seen go around, which are pretty interesting.
The Mad Max one, isn't it? Mad Max vibe.
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah,
back
Dark Sun's Mad Max vibe, like effing super deadly. But the tinfoil hat ones I've heard are obviously last year. The Dragonlance creators sued Wizards of the Coast because they like reneged on their contract.
Yeah, they were writing a novel or something.
Yeah, they were writing novels and stuff, and I think they were writing another book, like core book, and then
so I don't think we'll see Dragonlance ever again.
Yeah, but the thing is, the lawsuit got dropped, and they settled out of court, and they've said to expect big things. So that's that's the first tinfoil hat theory I've heard, and that's actually the more tame one that I've heard, because the second one, like, we need to seriously like double layer the tinfoil, because last year Hasbro, who are the parent company of Wizards of the Coast, who everybody believes is trying to sell them, which I don't think they are, but that's for another topic.
Let me guess. We're getting a My Little Pony setting, aren't we?
Well, it's something similar to that, but last year Hasbro obtained the rights to Power Rangers.
I thought they already had the rights to Power Rangers.
No, Hasbro I think they sold it and then re-brought it back. So Hasbro gained the rights to Power Rangers, and people are saying that this might be an Angel Grove Mighty Morphin Power Rangers setting, which I'm not sure if that's sick, or that as in like sick good, or sick as in what the hell is going on if that happens.
To be honest, I'm intrigued just thinking of the possibilities of Power Rangers in a 5e rule set. I'm intrigued.
That could be fun, like having like either somehow flavouring the classes so you can only do the abilities when you're morphed or something, or somehow having the Power Rangers themselves as a class. That's interesting. Can you imagine the background teenager with attitude like as a character option? But
Can you? I mean, if they did that, they'll have to do some crazy epic rules for kaiju battles.
Yeah, like summoning the Zords. Like
that'd be pretty crazy. If they do this, I mean, I'm not interested in this at all unless it's Mighty Morphing Power Rangers. To be honest.
Admittedly, I'm quite a big Power Rangers fan, but it has to. I think if you're gonna capture the D&D demographic, which is usually older people who grew up with Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, they're the people you're gonna target. So with the success of the Power Rangers like graphic novel and everything that came out from Boom Studios,
I am very much a fan of Power Rangers. I am 30 years old, and I've watched Power Rangers since its inception, all the way up to, I think, Ninja Storm was the last one that I watched. I would have been early 20s by the time I stopped watching Power Rangers. So this does intrigue me. I feel like, even though there are a lot of Power Ranger series out there, I feel like it's still peaked at Mighty Morphing.
Oh yeah, totally. Like that's why in I think in later series they tried to recapture that by even like re-recording the theme tune and stuff.
Yeah.
Like they tried to do like
there was Dino Thunder. Yeah, Dino Thunder. I watched that one as well.
Yeah, there's lots of like dinosaur themed ones, weren't there, after Mighty Morphin, to try and recapture the magic.
Maybe they'll do it so you could have like any of the Power Rangers from any of the series. I mean, that would be a lot, probably way too much for a book, but having a selection of different Power Rangers from different generations could be cool.
What? So those are your classes. So instead of like Ranger, you've got like Mighty Morphin, Zeo, SPD. That could work. Not gonna lie, that could be sick.
Oh my god, Space Patrol Delta with the dog and the cat Power Rangers. I'm not even joking. It's one of my top 3.
No, SPD is sick. Why would no? Of course it's sick. Like I'd go for SPD.
Ranger, and then you get the Cat Ranger right towards the end of the series.
Yeah.
That had been hyped back in the day.
And the silver guy, he was just a glowing ball or whatever. Like he was like a time displaced person, so he couldn't have a physical body. That was sick.
Yeah. Okay. All right, in this 3-minute conversation, I'm already down for this.
So we're hoping for the most extreme tinfoil hat theory that it is a Power Rangers 5e D&D module or setting, and yeah,
I'd have that than a Magic the Gathering setting.
admittedly, the next Magic the Gathering set that's coming out is apparently supposed to be like Harry Potter based, and admittedly, I couldn't give less of a shit. I usually am quite intrigued by the Magic the Gathering settings because of the fact that the art's usually like really interesting and stuff like that. And I used to play Magic the Gathering. I still think it peaked at Innistrad, which is like the gothic horror setting. But even so, like Kaladesh has been cool, all that stuff. But then I'm just kind of there like, if we get another Magic the Gathering setting and it's not a proper Innistrad book, like I just can't be fucking bothered with it anymore. Like. Just don't care, you know.
No. I mean, essentially, these settings, you know, they're all the same in terms of the content in the book. You'll get a few pages on lore and history of the world. You'll get some maps and whatnot. You'll get some magic items and some characters, and you may even get 1 or 2 subclasses. But I don't know, all those subclasses and stuff, they're just going to be released in the next Tasha's book anyway, so I'm just kind of bored of them. I need something radically different to get me intrigued.
Yeah, we need like some sort of like, I think one thing that D&D might need as a new setting is a low magic setting. Like, I think if you took away the ability for these people to just cast fucking spells whenever they want, you would have a very different game. So I think maybe a low magic setting might be the thing that actually could spice up, or even like Magitech, like, so it's more technology based. Because even though Eberron was kind of that, it wasn't really. Like,
also heavily technology influenced.
Yeah.
So what do they call it? Magic Punk or something?
Magic
like that?
Punk, yeah.
Yeah, we've already got 2.
Yeah, that's true. So obviously, yeah, they that's how forgettable those were.
Exactly.
My wife is being attacked apparently. So it's a cat, I think. But yeah, no. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the settings in Magic the Gathering and like Wizard's Plan. We talk about it quite a bit about like. I am interested to see the state of D&D in 2021 with the massive boom that there's been and the massive bubble that's being created of like new people and Twitter trolls and everything like that. I wouldn't be surprised if in the next couple of years that's when we see the bubble burst, because of multiple reasons, like the class singularity that seems to be starting to hit, the additional pressure of like the PC police and stuff like that going through every book with a fine-tooth comb.
I was thinking about this the other day because I have a player in my Theros group who is a complete noob. Been in the group for the past couple of months, and for Christmas she got her player's handbook. And firstly, it's great that she got a player's handbook, and I'm great that, and I think it's amazing that she's picked up this hobby based on the experiences that I've given her, D&D related experiences, of course. The player's handbook, if you've just got that, you're missing out on so much. It's like DLC for a video game. It's like you've got the player's handbook and you can play as anything in the player's handbook, but you know, unless you've got Tasha's or somebody else has got Tasha's or Xanathar's and all of the other books, you're just like so far behind everybody else coming into D&D at this point in 2021. And
that's a good point, actually. I never thought about it that way.
At the moment, isn't it? And I think back to when I joined D&D. I joined D&D before Xanathar came out, so I only really needed the player's handbook. But I can't imagine how daunting it must be for new players seeing this massive list of books that they can buy, and then seeing everybody else with shelves filled with all of the books that they've collected over the years of 5e.
Yeah.
It would terrify me.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I never thought about it that way. That, like, if you think about it, the player's handbook is like vanilla. like 5e vanilla, and like if you've never stepped outside of vanilla, and then you start going into all the DLC content, it starts going mad. And even if you look at the stuff that's just aimed at players, so Xanathars, Tashas, Volos, you've got masses of things that
there's just so much.
Yeah, there's like, if you want stuff that's just for players, but then if you want stuff that's for DMs, like settings and stuff like that, there's more. There's the monster manual. There's it's. I do think that maybe this year, if we monitor it closely, we might see a drop off in like the amount of people picking up the hobby. Because even with D&D Beyond, and like D&D Beyond is a great service, but in terms of like what it actually does, but then there's still the idea of like buying books twice, not having a physical copy of something. What happens if you haven't got any internet properly, and stuff like that? There's loads of like little issues and little bugs.
And then there's the fact that D&D itself, the act of playing, is infinitesimally better when played in person versus online.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be honest, you know, if my first experience with D&D was online, there's a very high probability that I never would have returned. So, you know, there's millions of people out there that would be interested in D&D, but they're not getting the true experience of it. And, you know, that's going to result in Wizards of the Coast not picking up those new players and not picking up those new sales.
And that's why I think you have seen, I'm not going to say like a rise, because there's always been like other games out there. Like, it's ridiculous to think there wasn't. I've played Mutants and Masterminds and really enjoyed it. But I do think there was a bit of a thing in the last couple of years that people have been looking for other games. And I know Ben's a massive advocate of it. Like, play other games. I'm currently playing in his Blades in the Dark thing on his stream. It's really good. Like,
yeah. I mean, what I just said is not just going to apply to D&D, but I think it's going to apply to tabletop roleplay games in general.
I don't know, because I think the only, if you look at the way these other tabletop RPG companies are handling it, they aren't releasing so much content like back to back to back to back. Like, so Blades in the Dark pretty much has one book, I'm pretty sure.
They're not milking the cow.
Yeah, they're not like, so it is interesting to think of if this is the year where we begin to see the trough start again, because a lot of people, if you read the message boards and stuff like that, it does seem like the RPG horror stories online are multiplying like exponentially because of the fact that like there's anonymity and stuff like that involved, and people can get away with shit. So like, it is a really interesting thing to think about, and you've like now put that idea in my head, and it's like almost like a woodpecker like in the back of my mind, like, oh shit, yeah, being a new player now must suck if you're not with someone who's always been a player, for example. Like, my wife is still kind of new, so she gets my shit.
It's like you know, all of your friends are talking about playing Call of Duty, and then you go to the shop and buy Call of Duty, and there's like 7 on the shelf, and you're like, shit, which Call of Duty do I need to buy?
Yeah.
Or like, you know, when they release maps on Call of Duty, you can't play those games unless you also have the DLC maps. You know, it's kind of like that IRL instead of online.
I'll tell you a game that was online that actually did the downloadable content thing pretty well. Have you ever played the board game Talisman?
No.
So the board game Talisman is pretty much like Monopoly on crack in a fantasy land. Like, and instead of like buying property, you can like find items and stuff and kill monsters at certain areas and level up your character as you go around the board. And like, you're trying to complete an epic quest, and you can attack other players and stuff. But actually, if somebody has all the DLC and they host the game, like if there's like extra boards or extra characters, if they host the game and include that in their hosting, and you can leave this game running, like, so you can like leave the game and then come back to it and load the file again, everybody gets it. Everybody can choose from those options. So but that's more like a tabletop board game than like a first-person experience and a console experience. We all know that microtransactions in consoles has been a bit of a problem recently.
That's what it essentially is with D&D, isn't it? Every single additional book that we've bought past the player's handbook, that's essentially been IRL DLC.
Makes sense.
Anyway, I feel like we're getting too far off topic. What was the actual topic for this episode again, Addison?
So this today's topic is our New Year's resolutions, the things that we're going to do, we're going to explore this year in 2021 personally, at our tables, as a podcast. What are we going to do? What are our plans for 2021? What is the pod of many things Addison and Leon going to look like in 2021? So which one do you want to start with?
Let's talk about what we want to do for the podcast in 2021. Not just the podcast, but the channel itself.
So the channel itself is we've both said that we want to diversify and not just do the podcast, haven't we? And
we still want to do the podcast. It's just we want to do a little bit more as well. So last year I started a new series which I'll be diligently working on this year, and that's what happened in Theros. So that's a retelling of my Theros campaign from a DM's point of view. So as I'm talking about what happened in the session, I kind of give a why I did that kind of thing. So I explain why I put this encounter in there. I explain the decisions that I made along the way, the resources that I use as a DM, just as a bit of a guide for people who want to jump into DMing, and also to tell the entertaining story of what the fuck is going on in Theros. So yeah, what I'm hoping to do is I want to do one of those videos every 2 weeks, starting from next week. So next week I'll do episode 3 of the series, and then it'll be a fortnightly thing after that, because those videos are quite a time sink.
Yeah.
So that's one from me. How about yourself? You've just started a new series as well.
Yeah, I've started All Out Ad-Sol, which is my rank cast where I get to get up on my soapbox and say what I do and don't like about the world and put it to rights and stuff, and it's quite fun, and I get to like exaggerate a bit and have some swagger and feign confidence in things. Like
all confidence is feigned, that's my theory.
But yeah, no, it's pretty fun. Like I get to take on some interesting topics and get to look at things that have been bothering me for a while that I want to sort out. So yeah, it's pretty fun. I'm trying to get, I started out with one a week over Christmas, like I pre-recorded a bunch, but hopefully from about the 3rd week in January I should get onto them like once every 2 weeks, much like you. They're not a massive time sink, but with my new job and everything, I've not really got a lot of time as well to do the podcast and play a game, because like I can't not partake in the hobby that I want to do a podcast on. So yeah, I have to be a bit more efficient with my free time, let's say.
It's the same with me and playing. I need to actually plan and run the Theros game before I can actually do a video on it.
Yeah, that would make sense. I've got a game tomorrow, and I'm of the recording of this. So we're recording on the 9th, and we're gonna probably put this out whenever. But on the 10th, I've got a game, and I'm just like, I kind of know what I want to happen. I can barely remember what happened in the last game. Like I'm like, because we took a 2-week break, and I'm just like, oh no.
That's every game for me, Addison. Every single game ever.
I'm like having a nosebleed thinking about it now. Like no. But yeah, no. I think. So what would you say is our main mission goal for the channel this year? Just branching out into different forms of content.
I guess so. If you want to put some quantitativeness on it, I'd say, what do you think sounds reasonable? 1,000 subscribers by the end of December 2021?
Jesus Christ. Maybe. Like, I definitely want 100 so we can get the vanity URL, because I'm fed up of our rubbish YouTube URL, like
Yeah.
being like so like all those random letters and numbers. Like, so if we could get 100 by like June, by like having done it for a year and having 100 subscribers to me is fine.
Yeah. So what, we're like halfway there. How
Yeah.
many subscribers do we have? Like 40 something.
40
So
something.
yeah, we're almost halfway there, which is excellent. We can do it.
Yeah, we just
gotta
gotta
be consistent. You know, you look at how you look at what everybody else says about growing the channel, and it's just about consistency. Just be consistent, which is a struggle.
Yeah.
You're a fucking teacher in the UK during a fucking global pandemic, and I work 6 days a week. You know, it's difficult finding time for all of this stuff, but I'm sure we can do it.
Yeah, but even if we have to pre-record and stuff like that for a bit, I'm not that bothered. Like, I just want us to do well and put out stuff that we. But the minute, I do think one of the things we have to acknowledge is that the minute it stops being fun and the minute that we're just doing it because we need to have a word with the other one and say like, yo, dude, stop, because.
Yeah, that's kind of what happened last year, and we'll just see how it goes. You know, we will see how it goes.
So in terms of the podcast itself, like the episodes that we do, what are you thinking about in terms of topics and stuff that you want to cover this year that we don't think we covered last year? Is there any particular guests you want on, or is there anyone you'd aspire to get on this year?
That is a very good question. There are some episodes that I would like to go back and do again. And there are a couple of episodes that we planned to do last year but never got around to doing. Firstly, I would like to revisit the combat episode that we did. I feel like there's more there that we could talk about. It's just such a huge topic. You know, it's one of the foundations of not just D&D but tabletop roleplay games. So I definitely think we should go back and revisit that at some point.
Yeah.
There are some people I would absolutely love to get back on the podcast. Jack being the number one. Jack is the person that just overthinks D&D, and I think, you know, he's just sitting there all day just thinking about D&D, so he has really good opinions on stuff, so I'd love to get him back on. One of the biggest things that I would like to do is, so I'm not sure if everybody knows this, but we did an episode last year with some really fantastic guys at, and their channel is called Potomac RPG.
Oh god.
Now I would really like to do an episode with those, because we actually did an episode with them last year. We recorded it and everything, and for whatever reason, I'm not going to bother going into details because there aren't that many details really, I lost the recording footage of that episode. So these lovely people from all the way across the pond,
we
agreed to come on our...
took up all day as well.
They set aside some time to come and do the podcast, and we had a lovely chat with them. We did their podcast as well, and I lost the fucking audio. So that's probably the number one thing that I want to do this year. Who else? There is Nick from Arklands. Nick was just such an eloquent talker, and he was so knowledgeable. It would be fantastic to... I don't know if we should do a podcast episode, but we should definitely do something with him, because I know that he's just set up a YouTube channel for Arkland, so we should definitely do something. And what I think we should do, and we'll speak to him about this, is perhaps do like a live play set in his setting of Arklands, which is super interesting because it has this mechanic where you can build your own spells. So that's something that I want to do. How about yourself? I've spoke for ages. What do you want to do, Anderson?
So in terms of like the episodes that I want to do, one of the things I really want to do is maintain the friendships that we've made with people like the guys from Verse and Arklands, and Matt from
Matt Click. Shout out to him as well. That was a fantastic episode.
I think, and the Potomac people are definitely like the episode that I most want to do, like, because like that was a great episode. It was funny, and we both were like sitting in a pit of despair when we had to tell them, like, guys, we are so sorry.
Oh, that was just crushing.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Because obviously with the time difference and everything, they had set aside their Saturday to talk to us, so then there was like time where we talked to them afterwards. We pretty much always kept them all day, and I was like, oh no. So yeah, I really want to do that. But in terms of us specifically, we keep getting people on that have made something, and I kind of really want to do the same thing. Like I really.
You want to make something? We've talked about this before, haven't we?
I don't know whether to make whether we could make like an adventure supplement or like our own subclasses and stuff, and but I want to make something, even if we have to get a bunch of our friends involved, and just make something and put it out there and see what people think of it, whether it's for money or just like, yo, for shits and gigs, do you fancy using this for us? Because I don't know, like, I just think it's cool.
I'm very much with you on this. I have, just been knocking ideas around in my mind for well over a year now, and I think it's just a case of putting pen to paper and actually starting that.
Yeah, because
I'm definitely with you on that.
Ben again from the Flickering Torch. I keep mentioning him, but I talk to him a lot at the minute because obviously lockdown and everything. And he's just floated an idea by me, and I think it just, every time someone mentions that they've made something or they want to make something, it gets the gears in my head turning, and I can't get them to stop. Like I can't not think about it.
It's like when a woman sees a baby and they get all broody, isn't it? It's like, I listened to Nick talk about his mecha hack, and I'm like, oh, I need to do that as well.
Yeah, Matt Click, was.
What did I say?
You said Nick, because it was Nick
Matt
from
Click,
Nick from
Artlands.
Okay.
Matt from.
Yeah, but no, mecha hack, like I said in the podcast episode we did, it was something I didn't know I needed till I found it, and I would love to have that reaction from someone else, like for somebody else to go, oh no, this is the setting, or this was the adventure I needed at my table. I didn't know I needed it till I found it. Like,
all right, what we're gonna do then? We're gonna set aside a Saturday, the whole day. We'll set aside 12 hours, something like that. We'll order a bunch of pizza. I don't know, a curry. I don't know. We'll get some booze, and we'll just spitball ideas and put some pens on some pieces of paper and see what comes out.
Sounds like a good plan. What are we gonna do about the wives though?
What wives? we'll put them in another room.
But yeah, no, I just genuinely, I just really want to create something that would be cool. So that's my big thing. But I think
I've had this idea knocking around my head for like a year. So
I've also got a mini goal.
Not on the podcast, but we'll discuss it.
My mini goal, if obviously I've got like a 3-tier system. I've got like the big goal, which is to make something, the realistic goal, which is Potomac, but my final goal, which is something that we can just do if we really want to, is I really want to do a drunk episode. I just want to get shit faced.
Wait! You're not drunk right now?
No, apparently not. I should be, but no.
Oh.
I want to do but I want to do it with like lots of people, however many people we can get on whatever recording platform we've got, and just like get shit faced with them and talk shit. And just have a good time. Like, because
it's a shame we're in lockdown world, because my ideal way to do something like that would just be get a bunch of people around a table, plop down a bunch of Yetis, and fill up everybody's shot glasses, fill up everybody's pint glasses, and just see what the fuck comes out. But we can't do that, so we have to do it online. But that does sound amazing.
Yeah, so those are my goals. Make something, get Potomac on the line, and get drunk with my friends on a podcast, and then release it and see if people enjoy it, I guess.
Would that be a live play, or would that be like a chat like this?
It would be a chat like this, I think, because I respect people in live play, don't get me wrong, I really do, but I just find it difficult to give a shit about other people's live play who aren't, like, for example, Critical Role or High Rollers, these ultra charismatic professional actors. Like, and I know that sounds harsh, but like, this is what they do for a living. That's part of their job, like, to be entertaining. So, like, seeing three blokes and one of their wives, like, awkwardly stumble through something and make loads of in-jokes and references that nobody else gets because they haven't been gaming with them for 15 years. I find it really difficult. I've tried to watch other live plays or listen to other live plays when I've been bored, and I'm just like, I genuinely just don't find your characters exciting or thing. Like, I don't find you funny. Like, I'm sorry.
No,
Like,
I 100% agree with you. The thing that makes Critical Role work, and the only reason it works, is because the players and the DM are actors, and not just that, they are fantastic actors.
yeah.
And I've tried to watch countless or listen to countless other live plays before, and I just haven't been able to. I'm totally with you on that. I completely agree.
So I would have a conversation, maybe even if it was something stupid like Never Have I Ever's or something like that, or Topics from a Hat, like, and basically like you just get drunk with these guys and we make it like board game nerdy, like, themed. So like, have you ever, like, you make some of them quite spicy because we're going to be hopefully bladdered at certain points. So it could be things like, have you ever fancied one of the girls from a game so much that it kind of got weird? Like, I can't remember. That's the question I stole from somewhere, I will admit.
So we're about halfway through this podcast. Okay, it's 6:26 UK time. The second we stop recording, we're going to sit down and decide how and when we're going to do this drunk podcast. Okay?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I say sit down. We're going to not stand up. We're going to continue sitting.
Yeah.
All right. So that's what you want to do with the podcast. That's what I want to do.
What about our personal goals? Let's talk about, like, personal shit for us and our tables and stuff like that. So.
Okay. Yeah. I've got quite a few actually.
Go for it, because this is one thing I'm not very prepared for, because of the fact that because of my new job.
All right. Well, I'll go first then, and it may spur some ideas for you. Shall we do that?
Yeah, that's
all right,
perfect.
So I guess let's start with my current campaign that I'm running, which is Theros. If in case anybody that listens to this doesn't know, I'm running a Theros campaign. The one major thing that I want to do, and I guess this is obvious, but I want to finish the campaign. I say that, but there's a very specific way in mind that I want to finish it. I think it was 2018, maybe 2017. Wizards of the Coast released a set of Unearthed Arcana, and it was rules for mass combat, which essentially takes D&D and turns it into essentially a board game, which is basically based on 5e. I want my Theros campaign, and it's going to be completely based on what the players decide to do in that campaign, but I want it to culminate in a massive citywide battle where the players have to use these mass combat rules. I've read them, I've been thinking about using them for a while, and that's how I'm hoping my campaign will end.
Is that where, did you get those out because of what Bolly did in Strahd? Is that when you were like, I need to find rules for an angry mob?
Yeah. Yeah, that would have been good. So that's my first resolution. The second one, and this may be a little bit controversial, but actually, we'll come back to the one I was going to say. So the second one, I do want to run a short campaign of Vampire the Masquerade. I played a 2-episode one shot, I guess you could say, at the club. It was like the last time I went to the club before it got shut due to COVID, and absolutely fantastic system. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Had a great DM for it and had an excellent time.
Who's the DM?
I have Chris. I can't remember his surname.
Oh yeah, I know who you mean. Yeah.
Chris. Yeah, he came in with his wife Naomi. Lovely people, by the way. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. I've got the PDF of Vampire the Masquerade, because you can actually buy the PDF of it. Wake up, wizards. And it's like 400 or 500 pages, so it's quite a read. So at some point I need to read that and start planning, I don't know, maybe like a 10 episode mini campaign for Vampire the Masquerade. That's something that I really want to do. Got really into vampires, because I just finished playing the game Vampire with a Y.
Yeah, the one about the doctor dude who gets turned into a vampire. Yeah,
it's not your AAA title, but it's a small studio game, but it's really, really fun. Has a great story, some really good mechanics in there. Anyway, the third one that I have is, I've completely forgot what it is now.
You said it was controversial.
Yes, I do want to run another 5e campaign, another long-term campaign. However, the difference between this campaign and any other campaign is that I will run it without death saving throws. I feel like death saving throws are such a crutch. I feel like they're not just a second chance, but a third chance and a fourth chance to not lose that character. I want to see how the dynamics of a 5e game completely change when that crutch isn't there to lean on.
So how would you do spells like, for example, Revivify and stuff like that, the ones that need to be done ASAP, Spare the Dying? Would you like?
Well, I think Revivify is within within the next minute, isn't it?
Yeah.
Spare the Dying. Remind me what that does.
Spare the Dying basically stabilizes somebody when they're unconscious, so they don't have to.
It's something to think about. How I would run those kind of spells, but off the top of my head, for something like Spare the Dying, it has to be done before we get back round to your turn. If it's not done by then you're dead.
Makes sense. How would you do it like? Would you do it like? This is interesting. I like this. What would you do in terms of like unconscious versus dead? Would you like say that this is a killing shot or something from the monster, or?
So yeah, players can still nominate unconsciousness versus killing them, but essentially, if an enemy is trying to kill you, and you get down to 0 hit points, and you are not healed by the time it comes back round to your next turn. No, healed won't count. If you are not spared the dying by the time it comes round to your next turn, that's it. That character's dead.
Well, so healing wouldn't work, so I couldn't cast Healing Word on them to save them.
Nope. 0 hit points is dead.
0 hit points is dead. Interesting. I think that's definitely something that because I think that would change the dynamic of a lot of combat. A lot of people would be willing to run away from stuff a lot more if they were.
Yeah. Because the thing is, nobody ever retreats in D&D.
I have tried to make them retreat. Like, I've genuinely tried, and because of things like death saving throws, you're right. It's really hard to put the ante up enough to make somebody go, you know what, this is not worth it. Like, because they're just going to get back up again. Because there's about 4 of them, especially with Tasha's new rules, that can heal now. Like, so, yes.
Yep.
Makes sense.
Heal. It's just, once you get down to 0 hit points, that healing's not going to work.
Yeah, once you're
dead,
you're
dead. Yeah, so that's something that I would like to do. I'm not entirely sure what the campaign will be, or when I would do it. It would definitely be after Theros. But yeah, that's the plan. No death saving throws, so don't get too attached to your characters. Or if you do get too attached, then
think about it and be smart.
Yeah, try to parley, try to avoid combat, and if you're in combat and it's not looking your way, then get the heck out of there as soon as you can.
Just made me think about mine. I think the campaign that I'm currently running seems to be like heading towards its crescendo. I think there's 3 ways that I've given the players that could possibly end, and each of them has like different consequences and stuff like that. So I think wrapping that up and maybe starting another game would be interesting. I think if I was to start another game though, I would be looking at doing something in a homebrew setting that I've had under my hat for a while, because I've run a lot of stuff from like the Critical Role universe and like some stuff from like Eberron and stuff like that for the kids at work and other settings. And you know what? For the first time, I'm kind of like, you know what? I want to play where I want to play. Like, I want to play in somewhere I've made and share my stories and stuff like that. So I think if once I finish the campaign I'm doing now, I might move on to a homebrew one. Pardon me, sorry.
There you go. There's the thing that you can make and sell, your homebrew campaign.
Maybe, yeah. I also want to run a different system at some point, even if it's for a short time. Maybe give Mutants and Masterminds another go, because I know I didn't play that properly, because there's like a tons of stuff you can do to like change the outcome. But I also want to play Mecha Hack. I'm going to try and get a few people together to play that, because I really want to play that.
Count me in for that.
So I've got finish my campaign and then do a homebrew and play another system. So if we're going on like threes, I think the last one is probably slightly controversial as well, because it's going to sound like I'm whinging or something. But
it always does.
I would really like to play at some point. Like, that would be nice. Like, I play Blades in the Dark with like Ben and that lot, and I've played Night's Black Agent, but I haven't got to play like D&D in a long time. And I like learning new systems now. I will admit, I was one of those people who's like deal die for like years, but now I'm kind of getting older and more mature, and I'm like, you know what, these other systems are quite fun. They have fun mechanics, like the flashback mechanic in what's it called, Blades in the Dark, the MOS mechanic in Night's Black Agents. They've got some really cool mechanics. But you know what, one time I just want to play a Power Fantasy D&D character just for 2 sessions. Like, every time I join a game not as the DM, it like dies after like a session, and I'm like, is it me? Did I do something wrong? Like,
well, it's like Curse of Strahd, isn't it? We had what, 2 sessions, and then COVID happened.
Yeah, and like,
so everybody get the fuck out of my house.
Yeah, so I'm just there like, a lot of my friends at work have said that I'm the reason why the lockdowns keep happening, because every time I say that I want to start learning to drive again, we get put into a lockdown. So either this is God, if there is one, just there like, dude, you're not allowed to drive, just keep getting the bus, like, or get famous enough to get Ubers everywhere, or so yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to play more. I want to play more, and maybe with the people who we've met. So people like Nick and Matt and everybody, like, just play. I just want to play. So my 3 are finish the campaign and then move on to a homebrew, play another game system, and then play as a player, not as a DM. Those, and obviously there's other like personal ones like reading more and stuff. But if we're a tabletop RPG thing mainly, like. Those are my tabletop RPG like resolutions for the year, I think. But yeah, that's it.
Yeah, big plans for 2021. Although, you know, we may be locked down for another year, so
because I don't know if I can handle. I'm not gonna lie, like, I don't know if I can handle doing cyber education till March, let alone beyond March.
This has been, I know we're gonna go massively off topic, but this has been my thinking. It's like, not one single teacher, maybe a couple, has trained to deliver teaching virtually. You, as teachers, have all trained standing up in front of a class. You know, you prepare your lessons based on yourself standing up in front of a class. Yeah, you prepare your teaching materials based on standing up in front of a class and handing things out. It's just
getting questions in the
beggars
room,
belief.
like questions that you know you'll get in the room, or people you'll need to sit by. You're like, this person's probably going to need support during this task, so make sure I make time for them. Like, and it's hard to do that online because when you're in a classroom, it's a bit more private.
Because I got out of teaching just as 2 weeks before the pandemic hit. I can't imagine having to do all of that online now. That would be insane. So more power to you. Anyway, what's next on the topic of discussion?
There was an article that came out from, I think it was Game Radar. Let me just find it on my phone, as I saved it as a tab. There was hang on. It was the best tabletop RPGs. Game Informer. It was the best tabletop RPGs called Top of the Table of 2020. So I wanted to see what you thought and whether there's systems that you might pick up.
Read it. Start from the bottom.
I don't think they're in any particular order.
Okay.
So, but they're just like, so there's one called BFF, Best Friends Forever, and it is a GM-free role-playing game where players take on the role of a tween girl as they navigate a friendship, moments of discovery, and small quiet moments that shape our emotional selves when we're young. I'm sure you could reskin that to be boys or whatnot, but by the looks of things, it's set in kind of like an Adventure Time-esque, like girls' camp or girls' school setting, from what I can see on the picture. I'll send you the link on FacyB. But
interesting.
It's GM-less.
GM-less. That intrigues me. The actual game itself doesn't. I don't think I'm the target demographic.
Yeah.
More power to you if you are the target demographic and this does interest you. But the fact that it's GM-less does sound interesting.
Yeah, I think it's.
What else we got?
1 second. I'm just sending you this link so that you can, so you don't have to rely on me reading everything. Because I know that
I like you reading it to me.
Does it soothe you? So the next one after that is Cyberpunk Red. At least something Cyberpunk worked this year, I guess.
I don't know. Maybe there's some pages missing. We haven't seen it yet.
But yeah, Cyberpunk Red is the latest edition of the Cyberpunk tabletop RPG.
I feel like the absolute failure of the actual video game is going to hurt the sales of this RPG.
Oh, I can imagine that, because mate, why have we got a slider for dick size? Can we talk about that for a second? Like, there is a slider for penis size and character creation. Why?
Each to their own. Okay, I've got the link.
Because of, like, if you take average, everybody's gonna be like, well, that's not a power fantasy, is it? If you take the largest one, you're obviously overcompensating, and if you take the small one, everybody's gonna say you've got a tiny dick. Like, there's no winning with that slider.
I don't know.
The next one after that, after penis slider,
one intrigues me.
is Dishonored, the role-playing game published by Modiphius.
Yeah,
this went under the radar. I heard nothing about this till this article.
The thing is, these two games were absolutely fantastic. Two of the best stealth games ever made, Dishonored and Dishonored 2. So this one intrigues me. What does it say about it?
So it's very weighted and grounded in the video games. It's got multiple branching narratives from the Dishonored main thing because of how rich the world is.
The thing is
2D20 system
based on 2D20. Okay. The thing is with all of these ones based on video games is that you need to find people that have also played that game and can get passionate about playing a tabletop game based on the video game.
Yeah.
Which I find is difficult. Because remember at the club I did that Mass Effect one. And
yeah,
nobody was interested in Mass Effect apart from like me and Ben.
Yeah, we just wanted to play it. Chris intrigued as well, but yeah. Yeah, no, I get what you're saying though. Like, if you don't know the game, why would you want to play in a tabletop RPG game based on that game? This is gameception here.
Anyway, next one we've got Fiasco, a game about high ambition and poor impulse control.
A lot of people have played this we used to play this at the club, and it's basically
Because
like
the original Fiasco has been around for over a decade.
yeah, this is the newest edition apparently, and
GM-less as well.
GM-less, and basically I always hear the story of like from the club that basically they played King of the Hill, the RPG. Like they were just all like suburban dads at a barbecue, and they had like things they needed to do in order to like ruin this barbecue and take over the world or something like that. It sounded bonkers. It sounded like a trip into the Twilight Zone, if anything. So
Okay.
apparently it's really interesting. Like you can tell a lot of different stories. It's very general, but I think sometimes general is it's not bad. How can I put it without general sometimes doesn't interest me because there's nothing to hook me into it. There's no like a definitive flavor, and everybody comes at it with different expectations. So I feel as if no one's ever cohesive with general games, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
After that, there's Kids on Brooms, which is kids on bikes with magic. If any of you don't know, Kids on Bikes is basically think E.T., Stranger Things, the RPG game. Like you play as kids, usually in the middle of some sort of conspiracy or something.
Interesting. Harry Potter vibes.
Because Kids on Bikes won a spot on the same list for 2018. So it's not been around for ages, but it's basically about it's the coming of age story. The next one after that is Morkborg. I don't know what the Morkborg. It's rules light.
It says the meat of Morkborg is its profoundly bleak style and presentation, with engrossing and sometimes gross art that lays out a fantasy world falling into ruin, terror, and its own demise.
Oh, hang on.
This intrigues me.
This does intrigue me because I've also got that wrong. It's not rules light. Sorry. This is part of the OSR old school revival. So like this is part of like more meaty, complex games, both in terms of flavor and system, which is interesting. Like that does sound cool. It's kind of the arts on the cover's really interesting. It's like some skeleton with like
you got this skeleton on a yellow background and kind of like a graffiti written title. So there's only like black, white, red, and yellow as the main colors, but the background is all yellow. That does look interesting.
But it sounds really complicated. Pathfinder 2nd Edition. Apparently, I've been watching a lot of videos about this recently.
Yeah, so have I.
About the fact that I've heard that it gets really repetitive after a while. Like as soon as you get past like level 3, like everybody does the same thing. Like you've played MMORPGs before, right?
Yeah.
You know, people have like loops or cycles or whatever they're called. Like the same things you have to do over and over again. What are they called?
Yeah.
But basically, Pathfinder 2nd Edition kind of comes into that after a certain level. I think after like level 2, when you start like choosing everything, it gets very much like loop gameplay. Like I do this and this and this at the beginning. It's the same in every combat, and even if you don't actually change it up that much. Like it just seems very samey is one of the major issues that I feel as if a lot of people have got.
Like D&D.
Yeah, I don't think, but admittedly, that's one of the things that they did say, that D&D 5e has the same. What are they called when you have to do the same thing over and over again? Combos and loops and stuff. So yeah,
Okay.
I find Pathfinder hella confusing anyway. And then the last one, I think. Well, nope, it's not the last
there's
one.
a couple more after this one.
There's Tasha's, which we've talked about at length, and we actually started off really liking that book, and then went, actually, the next one is Vaesen, published by Free League Publishing, based on Swedish folklore, Scandinavian folklore, and 19th century Scandinavia. You basically play as supernatural investigators.
I would absolutely love this, and I know a couple of people that would absolutely love this as well.
Yeah, it does sound pretty cool. It kind of sounds like Call of Cthulhu, but very specific with the Nordic horror instead. And I know that obviously people aren't quite aware because like not many people look into the Nordic culture and stuff like that apart from like Norse. But actually, if you look into like Nordic folklore, it is fucking grim and terrifying. So.
Oh, it uses the same systems from Mutant Year Zero,
Forbidden Lands,
and Tales from the Loop. So yeah, I may have to check this one out actually.
That does sound cool.
Last one.
I might put that to Ben as well because that sounds right up his alley. We Are All Mad Here by Monty Cook Games. So this is We Are All Mad Here is a supplement to the extra Cipher System rulebook. You can hop into your own fairy tales, reenacting familiar stories like Rumpelstiltskin or Hansel and Gretel, or chart your own course. It looks the art on the cover looks really pretty. Like it looks really good. It looks like a novel cover, like an actual storybook cover, which and basically you just play fairy tale adventures by the looks of things. I'm kind of looking through it.
We Are All Mad Here does an especially admirable job of tweaking the existing Cipher System rule set to match the unique needs of a fairy tale story. Of even greater import, the book manages to understand and clearly communicate the narrative frameworks, character types, and themes that pervade fairy tales, and how a gaming group can bring these elements to life at a table. Okay, alright, so this and Vaesen, these are two that I'm certainly gonna Google as soon as we finish recording.
Yeah, definitely. And they do sound pretty good. I've looked at some other stuff, some other like I've been looking a lot more at news about, because coming into the new year, I wanted to look at more news and get a feel for the space. There is something from Polygon about the fact that 2021 will be defined as a year for tabletop games by the last 12 months of chaos, like by how chaotic everything's been with COVID and lockdowns and stuff like that. How the pandemic social unrest and labour relations have shaped board games and RPGs. Kind of says everything we've said, that there's probably going to be an industry problem. Independent retailers are in crisis. International concerns because of things like the UK separating from Brexit, from the European Union using Brexit, and that the digital space. These are all things we've talked about before. Because even like things like crowdfunding, how's that going to work because of the fact that there's going to be so many people crowdfunding stuff. It just seems doesn't seem great. Like major brands come under fire. I'll send you this article, but it's pretty grim.
Time will tell.
Yeah. This year, I know we've painted it in a pretty bleak light because I like to think we're realists. We think of things, and we knew that 2021 wasn't going to magically fix everything from 2020. But we do want things to be better, and we do want people to feel all right and feel good. People are going to struggle, and it is going to be about. I don't know how you feel about it, but I think it's genuinely going to be about us coming together and coming round each other and being, as corny as it sounds, good citizens and like looking after each other at this moment in time, especially in a niche little gaming group like D&D and tabletop RPGs and board games and stuff like that. What do you think's going to help people survive this year?
What's going to help people survive this year? Ending lockdowns. That's literally what I'm going to boil it down to. People aren't going to like the answer. I don't care. Anyway, we're bordering on getting into political territory.
Yeah.
So this feels like a good point to segue into the final segment of the podcast, which is
the deck of many questions. We haven't done this in a while. Like we
have not done this in a while.
I feel like we either forget because we run over because we really enjoy talking to our guest, or
we always do it. It's just we haven't recorded one in a while. We definitely did it with Matt Click.
Yeah, we did it, but I mean, as in we haven't done it. So that's what I mean.
Ourselves. Today, let's do one each then.
Yeah, let's do it. Because we've done the D&D tag, which asks a lot of questions. So if you haven't seen those, definitely check those out. Key documents.
Let me just get up a random number generator.
Deck of any questions. We're just going for our Google Drive. Sorry, we're rusty. We're out of practice. Give us a break.
All right, Addison, I have rolled 75 for you.
75 for me is
which is exactly how many questions that we have.
Goblins or kobolds?
Yeah, goblins or kobolds. That's it. That's the question.
Well, I need more context to this question. What do you mean? Like, do I like
it's
to
just
use
goblins or kobolds? Okay, pick one.
Goblins, because they get the nilbog.
What's a nilbog?
So a nilbog, I don't know if you've ever used one, but they're hilarious. So basically, nilbogs are like magically infused goblins that become like massive issues because they're massive tricksters. They get like, and it just awakens in them. Like a goblin will randomly become a nilbog, and they are revered and like appeased because of the fact that they just cause so much trouble. And they're just so because they're actually like ridiculously magically powerful. But the goblins are genuinely like terrified of these guys, and they're like, the emergence of a nilbog in goblin society is a big issue. So they try and they base a massive part of their society in trying to stop this from happening.
Okay. Is it like in the Monster Manual?
I think it might be in Volos. Let me just see if I can find it in the contents page.
I've got it. Nilbog. Yeah, it's in Volos.
182.
Challenge rating 1. And the picture of him is in like this little pink and purple wizard robes. It's amazing.
Yeah, if you read the flavor text, it's just like, what? Like really? Goblin's Revenge. When goblinoids form a host, there is a chance that a goblin will become possessed by a nilbog, and this possession turns it into a wisecracking, impish creature, fearless of reprisal.
That's amazing.
Basically, attacking a goblin possessed by a nilbog is foolhardy, and killing the creature just prompts the spirit to possess another goblin. The only way to kill a nilbog from wreaking havoc is to treat it well and give it respect and praise. So basically, they worship this nilbog because of the fact that they know that nilbogism they've got a little box for nilbogism. No joking matter, because they're like little jesters, and they just want to fuck people's day up. I saw a really cool. I think I used it for a school game. A really cool adventure based around a nilbog, basically like terrorizing this town.
Yeah.
And basically, because they didn't know what it was, they were like, goblins can't use magic, and this goblin's using magic. They had no idea how to deal with it, and like there is like a big element of like research and like going and talking to goblins, like. Can you tell us about this dude in this purple suit, please? And they're like, no, don't bring him back. But yeah.
It's just clicked that nilbog is goblin spelled backwards.
Oh yeah, that was going to be my last thing, like that. And so their mic drop moment is nilbog is goblin spelled backwards. But yeah, that's why I choose goblins. Kobolds can be fun. I prefer playing as kobolds, to be honest with you, rather than using them as mobs. I do like voicing the kobolds whenever I add one to the game. Your turn?
I have rolled 66.
66 is?
Excluding Wish, what's my top level 9 spell? Okay. I've got the list open in front of me. Let's have a look.
I'm just getting my list.
Level 9 is so lackluster, to be honest.
Well, because it's because you only... Does anybody get more than one? Level 9?
I don't know.
I feel as if that's the
Anyway,
reason.
Meteor Swarm is always a good one. Can't go wrong with Meteor Swarm. But I think probably the one that I would definitely choose if I'm able to choose a level 9 spell as a player is True Polymorph, and the reason for that is because I would just True Polymorph myself into a dragon that has the shape-shifting ability. That's what I would do.
Makes sense. Like, why would you do anything else? Like,
That's it.
yeah, like you could become anything. I think the only other one, and because we're sick fucks as human beings in general, I think the only other one I'm looking at Power Word Kill. Like, like
Die.
yeah.
And we'd just be commoners, so we only have 4 hit points. So
Yeah.
Guaranteed to kill us.
Yeah, so just like boom, 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 like when somebody really annoys you at work, like. But yeah, no.
Die.
What?
Well, shit. I guess I have no choice. I'm gonna go die now.
Have you seen? There's a spell at level 9 called Weird.
I have not. Let me have a look.
Player's Handbook.
Weird. Oh yeah, I see it. Level 9 illusion. Only wizards. Drawing on the deepest fears of a group of adventurers, you create illusory creatures in their minds, visible only to them. Each creature in a 30-foot radius sphere, centered on a point of your choice within range, must make a wisdom saving throw. On a failed save, a creature becomes frightened for the duration. The illusion calls on the creature's deepest fears, manifesting its worst nightmares as an implacable threat. At the end of each of the frightened creature's turn, it must make a wisdom saving throw or take 4d10 psychic damage.
It's pretty lackluster considering.
That is incredibly lackluster. Has a range of 120 feet, concentration up to 1 minute. That is not a level 9 spell.
No, what the hell?
Let's compare the damage output of that to Meteor Swarm. So Meteor Swarm is 20d6 bludgeoning and 20d6 fire if you fail a dex save. So either way, you're taking a minimum of 20d6 unless you're a rogue.
Because it doesn't tell you. So a 30-foot sphere. Because how? I suppose the thing with this is the fact that it can affect multiple creatures. Because usually you can only affect one person with spells like that, can't you?
Yeah, but compare that again to Meteor Swarm. That's 4 different 40-foot radius spheres.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And it has a range of 1 mile.
Yeah. Just just done.
Yeah.
Done out though. Yeah. I do feel as though they ran out of ideas when they started hitting like level 8. Like, we can just beef up existing spells, right? Like, that's a thing. Like,
basically, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, do you want to send us home, Addison?
Yeah, sure. I think that's everything. We're looking forward to the year of 2021, but we're going in gently by the looks of things. We've got plans, and we're just being careful with everything that's going on. So yeah, I hope that whoever you are, wherever you are, whenever you are, that you are safe, you are happy, and you are well. And I hope that you hear us, again soon, and come join us. Check out our new content that we're making, All Out Assault, what happened in Pharos, and any other things that we decide to make. We'd happily have you here, and if you've got any comments, questions, whatever, put them to us in the comments of wherever you're listening to, because even Spotify has comments now. That's kind of scary. But yeah, so it's been great to get back to this in 2021, and hopefully we'll see you soon. Peace.
I'm going to cast Weird.